here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Kate Turner, and I'm blessed to be your platform assistant today. And I'm very happy to see everybody here this morning. This is really exciting. If you are new to our center, we would like to extend a special welcome. We always like having new visitors. And if you'd like to have our special Soul Survivor Guide, you can sign up on the new new visitor list in our lobby, and you will get an email with the Soul Survival Guide. And it is our tradition to welcome new visitors with a hearty, welcoming round of applause. Today, we are blessed to welcome the dynamic duo, Ron and Fonnie Frost. Fonnie, yeah. This is a great treat. Fonnie began singing as a child in her home country of Indonesia and now shares her beautiful voice as a full-time professional singer throughout Southwest Florida. And I've been blessed to be listening to the practicing before our service today, and you're in for a real treat. This is going to be so amazing. And then Ron Frost is a motivational speaker, author of Getting Unstuck, and a master life coach who blends spiritual wisdom with practical inspiration to help people awaken to their true potential and maybe even stop procrastinating tomorrow. One of his most inspiring adventures was a 3,500-mile solo bicycle journey across America, a spiritual pilgrimage filled with insights about courage, faith, and divine GPS. Yes, 67 days on a bicycle of his own free will. And today, Ron reminds us that the dreams of our hearts are not random, they're sacred. And when we listen to the call of our soul, the universe doesn't just whisper back, it shows up with a whole support team. So as you can tell, this is going to be a lot of fun today. Please remember to silence your cell phones. If you are a Facebook user, please go ahead and log into Facebook real quick and let everybody know that you're here and you're having a wonderful time. And then we'll start with our opening prayer. So please join me. With happy hearts, we come together today lovingly and joyfully, welcoming and embracing each and all, those in person and online, into the fellowship and community of our Unity Spiritual Center of Vero Beach Sunday celebration service. We claim for all the blessing of knowing God's presence and power and the demonstration of divine good, grace and good in us, in our lives, and in the world today. Thank you, God, and so it is. All right, and so let's stand for the congregational joy song.
All good, holy, holy. All good,
So, announcements. So what's happening at our beautiful spiritual center? Let's see, next week, or actually Sunday, June 29th, next week at 11:30 a.m., we will be having our community meeting. And you can join Reverend Clive and our Board of Trustees for an update on our ministry and community. And we urge everybody to please attend. It really helps build a strong community when people show up. On Sunday, July 6th at 11:30, there will be a conscious conversation. How do we live with spiritual integrity in times like these? Join Reverend Clive for an interactive group conversation on living unity at this time in the world today. And if you would like to receive a free booklet on true prosperity, Reverend Clive's booklet, The Spiritual Principles and Practice of True Prosperity, is now available for download via a link in The Path, our weekly email newsletter. If you don't receive the newsletter, sign up on our website. There's a special sign-up sheet as well in the Welcome Center if you'd like to receive a booklet by mail. And then the Green Team has its next meeting on June 28th at 3:30 p.m. And you can join our Earth Care Partner Green Team for a meeting and be actively involved in the celebration and care of Mother Earth. Let's see. All right, and then our trustee for the day is Mary Pittman. If you have any, thank you, Mary. If you have any questions, Mary would be happy to speak with you after service. And now let's anoint our vision and mission of our center. And it'll be up on the board there. Okay. So at Unity Spiritual Center of Vero Beach, we value faith, love, integrity, unity, peace, prosperity, service, and joy. And our vision is a world collaborating in love and unity to co-create the blessings of peace, prosperity for all. Our mission is loving, teaching, and inspiring people to be all we are divinely created to be. And now I would like to invite our prayer chaplain, Jeannie Hunkapiller, up to the stage to read the daily word.
Well, good morning. I'm Jeannie Hunkapiller, and this is my first time up here, and I am as amazed as anyone else. So thank you. This is in dedication to all those beautiful smiling faces at me. So I would also like to introduce my prayer chaplain partner, Charlotte Hadley. And let's begin by recognizing the lighting of the Christ candle, for it symbolizes the blessing and anointing of the Christ consciousness within us, and upon our service. And the prayer box and the prayers have already been blessed and prayed upon in the 9 a.m. prayer and meditation service, and the prayer box has been returned to the Welcome Center to receive any more written prayers. And just to note that all prayers are confidential and will be held in prayer and blessed by the prayer chaplains and the prayer ministry during the week. So now let's open our minds and our heart space to receive the daily word. And the word for today is guidance. With an open heart and mind, I heed divine guidance. If I am feeling lost or do not know which way to turn, I take comfort in knowing I can pray and bring my awareness to my connection with God. Wherever I am on my spiritual journey, I receive divine guidance. It's continually, and it is up to me to heed it. Divine guidance does me little good if I doubt it or feel too hesitant to act upon it. I commit to remaining open and receptive as I receive my guidance. Even if the call of my heart surprises me, even if I doubt I can do what I'm being called to do, I trust the still, small voice within, and I affirm I am divinely guided and faith-filled. And the sacred text for today is, "The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters never fail." Isaiah chapter 58, verse 11. So let's repeat again the word of today, guidance. And if you will repeat with me the affirmation, "With an open heart and mind, I heed divine guidance." And so it is. And just a reminder that Charlotte and I will be in the chapel after the service to serve anyone who has the feeling of the need for a one-on-one prayer. Thank you.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I ever done, everything I ever seen, everything I lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment here, to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. So here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I ever been before. Here I go. Closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Fani. It's thank you, music team, and thank you, everyone. And thank you, and thank Reverend Clive. I don't know if you're watching or later, but we don't always get a chance to do this together. And it had been actually maybe some years since we have. And so to have a moment where my beautiful wife can sing and inspire me to speak, at the same time, I just absolutely love it. So thank you. Okay, that's my speech. So I want you just to take for a moment and just kind of like go within and feel, was there a special time in your moment that you had, like everything was working out? It was like as if there was magic in the air, and that every person that you came upon, whether it was a stranger or a long-lost friend, was exactly the right person at the right moment. And the activity was just a feeling of joy. And it is as if everything was just divinely guided. It was like a continuous synchronistic moment of living in joy, living in bliss. And whatever that was, whether you were, with old friends, whether you were in a special point in your life, maybe it was graduating high school or college, or going off on a trip somewhere, or maybe it was when you were a kid and you were, just running around, maybe flying kites or riding bikes. That was the exact experience that I had last August when Fani brought me to the train station in Winter Haven, and I took myself and my bike to Washington, D.C., and I committed to a journey to get to the other coast. Everything just worked out perfectly. And so the principles I want to teach about living your dream is really the things that I believe we learn in New Thought communities like Unity. We learn that the universe is always working for us and through us. And yet, for me, it was kind of like going off into this adventure and doing that exact famous Henry David Thoreau quote that I'm sure many of you know. I actually I liked it so much, I put it right in the front of my book. I learned this at least by experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life that he or she has imagined, he or she will meet with a success uncommon or unexpected in common hours. And so as you embody that, that's the thing, when we're in our dream, whatever that might be. For you, it might not be riding a bike. It might be hiking in nature. It might be gardening. It might be writing music. Everybody's got a different dream. And so that is the very first principle of my 7 principles is, number 1, it's your dream. Number 2, You don't need permission. You don't need approval from the outer world. Number 3, you are already ready. Sometimes we have those doubts, don't we? And number 4, since you're already ready, move. Action. Move forward into your dream. Take that one small step in your dream today. And then trust. Trust. We open to guidance because guidance is always there. And as you start to move forward, that guidance becomes acutely aware of your heart and your passion that you're moving forward, and that universe is right there, and it comes through all the sign, symbols, synchronicities, and individuals, and every little opportunity along the way. And then from that point, from being trusting, we can have times that things don't go well. True? So principle number 6 is to stay in a high vibe mindset, even when it doesn't look like it's working out. Even if it's a low vibe moment, even if you've got flat tires, which I had plenty of those. Stay high vibe, just know that everything's going to work out. And the last one is enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, because that's really what it's all about. We've been conditioned in life that we've got to have goals for everything. We've got to have these things called deadlines. Get it? Like deadlines. That's, and we're like so consumed with this conditioning of not living a life, not living our joy, of having to make sure that we have everything day in, day out taken care of. Sometimes we're spending more time in our screens. We're living our screen time and not dedicating our life to our dream time. Our laptop screens, computer screens, and television screens, it is our choice to be able to make a determination and move forward into our dream. So the first one, it's your dream. It's really about you. Everybody's going to be wired a little differently. Like I said, not everybody's going to ride a bike, but everybody has something inside of it, and it can change. It can change throughout your life, and it doesn't have to be a career. It could be, but it could be a hobby. It could be an interest, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a standard met by anybody else, right? You don't need permission to do it. And I would say do the thing that you love to do. Think about that. First of all, think about the things that you love to do. Make a list of those things. For me, I like cycling. I love riding my bike. I love adventure. I love meeting people. I love camping, and I did lots of that. I love how to figure out, how to cook something on one of those little stoves. All that was adventurous for me. And so as I moved forward into that, I moved forward into joy. That exploration was joy. And then the second thing is you don't need permission. That sometimes the people that love you the most, your friends and your family, they're going to be so super cautious for you. Why? Because they love you. Sometimes they're putting brakes on your own reality. I had one friend, it's like, Ron, you're 63 years old. That's a 30-year-old bike. I don't think you're going to be able to make it. He's like, I'm worried about you. And so I kept kind of getting that thing. Not everybody, some will, some won't. Not everybody is going to support your dream. So you don't necessarily need permission. The only permission you need is your own. What is that dream inside of you right now? What is the magic that's inside of you right now? What is the thing that you've been putting off that you need to say yes to? And start to move forward into that. And don't worry if you have to get, family's permission. You probably won't. As it turned out, I didn't really train. I did one of those overnighters, put all the stuff on my bike, rode to a campground, and I'm like, okay, I'm set. I'm done. And I had my own doubts. I had some health issues that were going on, and I'm like, do I put this off? I already made a commitment. And then after Fonnie dropped me off at the train station, it's a 17-hour ride to Washington, D.C. And it was extremely cold, and all my warmer gear was with my bags that were back where my bike was stored. So I'm freezing. I didn't sleep at all. I get off at the train station, I come down to where the Washington Monument is and the Lincoln Memorial, and I'm kind of cruising around there, feeling great. I get on the C&O Canal, start heading out of DC. I don't even get out of DC and my chain breaks. The first little hill. Like, I had gone through and I repaired everything on this 30-year-old bike except for the chain. But I had the tools, and I always had these people that would come by. Can I help you? There was always these people that stopped and wanted to offer help. I would say I was like divinely guided. I was divinely guided with everything. If I ran out of water and I was deep in the woods, it would rain, and it actually did, and I got enough to fill a water bottle. If I needed directions, somebody would give me directions. At one time, my cell phone, which is also my GPS, lost power, and I went to find a place to plug it in. And I'm like in the middle of nowhere. And there's another cyclist there, and he goes, "Oh, I happen to buy 2 of these power packs. They're both fully charged. Here's one of them." Like, I was in the middle of Colorado, and by that time I had grown a beard, and I was kind of skinny, and all these bags on my bike. I pulled up to a stoplight, and a guy rolled down the window and gave me $2. Now maybe he thought he was, he thought I was homeless, but I mean, maybe I was practicing abundance. I don't know. But you're always met, and everything's always there for you as you move forward. So you don't need permission, and you're already ready. Whatever you may think, whatever excuses you might have, whatever that inner voice that's holding you back the moment you go to walk out the front door, it's always there. Just keep walking, keep stepping into your dream. And it is one of those things that I myself, I was like, well, I had that voice behind me. You can always quit, you can always turn around, you can always find another airport halfway across the country and fly home and not finish. I had that in me. Believe me, I did. As committed as I could be, I did have that backup plan that I could give up. But I found myself getting healthier. And matter of fact, by the time I got to the Rockies, you can't train for the Rockies in flat Florida. But by the time you get there, your conditioning, I felt I was getting stronger. Here I felt like I was like back in my 20s again. I actually felt feeling, better and better the more I went, the stronger I got. So even though you may not feel you're ready, you are ready. And it's that sense of purpose. I have a podcast, and I interviewed a doctor named Dr. Harvey Kalsis, and he was, one of the things I asked him a question like, what do you think is the number one thing, for good health? And this is like the last question in the interview, and he thought for a moment, and he said, a sense of purpose. Because when a person has a dream inside of them, they have a sense of purpose, there's something about that individual. It doesn't mean they don't get sick. They seem to recover quicker, and there's something that is this organizing nature of all the cells within the body that wants to move forward and fulfill that dream, whatever that dream may be. Whether it's an inwardly dream or whether it's a sacred service where you're helping others. It's that causational factor that's in you that keeps you healthy, keeps you moving forward. And so to me, you're always ready. Wherever you're at, you're ready to move. And so that next principle is move, because as you move, you don't know what you don't know until you move. People were always asking me, like, Ron, where are you going? I'm heading west. Can you be specific? Yeah, the Pacific. That's as specific as I could be. But yet, as I moved forward, I realized there was like things that were working out and things that weren't working out, and I would talk to people. And when I got to Kokomo, Indiana, I had a lot of success on the C&O Trail, which goes from Washington, D.C. all the way up to the border of Maryland, Cumberland, Maryland. And then from there, you get on this Gap Trail, the Great Allegheny Passage. Now, there's free camping. First come, first serve, free camping. And I got to meet other cyclists, and it was great. So you didn't have to even worry about anything. You didn't have to have a map to know where those camping spots were. You would just come upon them, set up your tent, and you would camp. After I got past Pittsburgh, and now I'm moving on to another trail, and some of these trails were broken. It's called the Great American Rail Trail. It's this huge project that is connecting old railroad tracks into trails, but they don't have it complete. And I knew that. So there's sections where you have to get off one trail and then navigate through roads to get onto another trail. And so the first thing that happened was I was on this one trail that actually took me, it was in Ohio, it took me to the end, and I shut my navigation off because I'm on a trail. Why would I need it? So I get to the very end of that trail, and I turn on my cell phone, and I have no cell signal. And the trail ends at a trailhead where there's a park and there's parking, and there was nobody around for me to even ask, like, where do I go? And right as you go out that road, there's a left and there's a right. And I don't even know where north and south is at this moment because I don't have my GPS. And so I was like, what do I do? And I kind of just said, show me whatever. Show me a sign. Like, what do I do? Go left or do I go right? And just at that moment, there was a butterfly, this little yellow butterfly, a tiny one, not like one of those big, tiny little yellow butterfly that started flying, like kind of like right towards the center of my forehead. And then it flew around my head, and it started flying off towards the left. And I'm like, Mr. Butterfly? Or Miss Butterfly, I don't really know. And I'm like, is it that way? And as soon as I said that, it repeated the pattern. It came back, and it did that. So what would you do if that happened twice? Would you go right? No, I went left. And the butterfly followed, it followed my handlebar for a little bit, and then, of course, I picked up speed. Eventually, my GPS kicked in, and I was going in the right direction the whole time. So there's guidance, there's that divine guidance. It's always, always, always there. If you're attuned to it and you see it, the magic of the universe is following you through your dream of your heart every step of the way. So the challenge got more with the camping, and the challenge got more with these trails. I like trails because you're not in traffic. You tend to see other cyclists as well. But I got to a certain point where I was just like trying to find a spot to camp. I would stop at the local police station. I had one city park. When I asked the police officer, he goes, I'm going there to lock the park because I have to lock it by 7 o'clock. I'll lock you in. This way nobody will bother you. But I had not only had permission to camp in the park, I had my own private park. And then, as time went on, I would ask people, and there was one place where it said, okay, in this particular town, there actually was a sign posted, and it said, cyclists are welcome to stay in this park, but you have to either get authority or clearance by the police department or the Parks and Rec department. And as I rode it back into town, before I set up anything, I rode back into town, and there it is one building, and it's the police department and the Parks and Rec department are in the same building. And I walk through the door, and of course I go to the Parks and Rec department, and they said, yeah, it's fine by us. Just make sure you let the police know. And so they're across the hall, and then I knocked on that door, and a lady officer came out, and she goes, oh yeah, we have no problem with it. Let the Parks and Rec people know. So these were the challenges that I was having, and sometimes I would try to find a hotel if I couldn't find a place to stay. And I learned about an app called Warm Showers. It's basically, the app is like couch surfing. Have you ever heard of couch surfing? Yeah, so if you do a lot of traveling, there is this option of being able to have a couch or a bed or something through somebody who is hosting through this app called couch surfing. Well, Warm Showers is cyclists supporting cyclists. It's basically, I'm actually a host for Sarasota, Florida, and you actually can keep your calendar open, so if you're available, you can host somebody. And I found somebody in Kokomo, Indiana. Their name was Bill and Kathy, and they lived on a farm. And I messaged them, and I knew I was probably about another days away, and they said, sure, let's come and stay with us. So I finally get to Kokomo, and here I am talking to Bill and Cassie, who had also cycled across the United States. They had done it in 2 sections, one year and one the next year. And so I'm picking their brains, like, what did you do? How did you deal with camping? And they said, oh, you're on the Great American Rail Trail. Yeah, we had the same issues, so we decided to do the Trans-American Trail, which is the oldest adventure cycling association trail. It's been around for 50 years, and it's more roads than trails, but every town you go through, you'll see the adventure cycling decal. All the hotels will allow you to bring your bikes in. They give you discounted rates. A lot of the restaurants and bike shops along that way, it's just open for cyclists. And it's been proven to be safe either because of the space or the shoulder or the fact that there are some bike trails that you can take. And so when I looked, Bill showed me this app, and I've never seen this app before. I was using a completely different GPS. And when we zoomed in, I'm like, what are all those blue dots? Oh, those are campgrounds. I'm like, really? What are all those brown dots? Those are bike shops. What are all those green dots? Those are grocery stores. I'm like, this is what I have. This is what I need. So I downloaded it, but I realized that I was needing to make a decision at that moment, make kind of like a hard left and start heading from Kokomo, Indiana to St. Louis, because I wanted to do what's called the Katy Trail, which was a famous bike trail, and then eventually get on this Trans-American Trail, which is the one that they did. So the truth is, you don't know what you know until you move. And this is with our lives, whatever. We have a dream, we have a desire. We don't necessarily, we try to plan it all out. But as we move, life conforms to us, and they put those people and they put those opportunities in front of us. And sure enough, I had to add probably 5 more days, but it's a long journey anyways. It didn't really matter. And as soon as I started to map myself out, I realized very first was I was about 70 miles from Plainfield, Indiana. And in Plainfield, Indiana, was a fellow colleague that I hadn't seen for probably around 25 years. I used to work with him. And I called him up, and he had the same phone number. And I'm like, Mike, this is Ron. And we get in this long conversation. I said, the reason why I'm calling, I'm on a bicycle. And I'm wondering if I could, you're on a bicycle? What are you doing on a bicycle? I'm riding across the United States. No kidding. Well, the whole reason why I'm calling is, would it be possible if I could stay with you? Sure, stay with you. So after that, I had people from Warm Showers. I found some other campgrounds. So I made this beeline to St. Louis, and I got on the Katy Trail, and everything from there worked out. Eventually, I got to the Trans-American Trail, bless you, and then eventually from there, we hit snow. When we got to Colorado, it snowed early, so we didn't physically hit snow ourselves, but we realized the temperatures were dropping, and I ended up going south. So from that point, went south, and I got on the Route 66 route and took it all the way to the Santa Monica Pier. And on top of that, I made a friend. So I kept seeing people that were, you would notice a cyclist that was a day cyclist. Basically, you would see their body, you'd see a very thin bike, maybe there'd be a handlebar bag, and then they would be flying past you faster than you were flying past them. But then occasionally you'd see these bikes where they were weighted down and they had these big heavy bags, and it looks like they were carrying their tent and their sleeping gear. And so those were the cross country, or those were the distant folks. They were going distance. And I was always seeing them going from west to east. And I kept thinking in my mind, wouldn't it be cool to meet up with somebody that was going in the same direction as me? And although I had zigzagged from my original trail, Kokomo, and I went down to the Katy Trail, I'm now in the middle of the country, in the middle of Kansas, and there's another cyclist. Little do I know, there's another cyclist who's now going east to west that's behind me. And he said I was like a dot on the horizon, and every time we go over these little hills, he kept pedaling faster and faster. And I had no idea, and I'm like riding down the middle of, I think it was Route 50, and the shoulder, and there's cornfields everywhere, and I hear this voice, "Are you going west?" God? Why are you out of breath? So it's kind of like we met, and he was actually getting to the point where he was thinking of quitting because he had so many issues that were going on. But I realized between our two strengths that we can help each other. We can keep each, and that's sometimes in your life when you're going after your dream. Notice those partnerships. Notice those people. Notice, because sometimes if we were meant to do it alone, we'd be the only person on earth. We're here to commingle and to create together. And so with Nate had probably one of the most expensive bikes I'd ever seen. I'm like on this old 30-year-old Schwinn mountain bike, which is rusty. And it's kind of like everywhere I went, there was all these fancy bikes, and people would like look at me and they'd look at my bike. It's like going to a Tesla party with a 1973 Ford Pinto. I mean, you just didn't fit in. But what was neat about it was like he knew bikes. There was one time when I had a screw that came out, and I was on a dirt road, and he was behind me, and actually he said, you know, your rack is buckling. Well, it was because the screw had fallen out, and the rack was starting to go into the spokes, and I knew I couldn't ride much further like that. So what do? You try duct tape and bungee cords or whatever, but he actually says, well, I think I brought a bag of screws with me, and I might have that size screw. And he reaches into his, and they were in the middle of nowhere. There wouldn't be a bike shop. And here he goes, oh yeah, it's the same thing that you use for a water bottle holder will work there. And it did. And he had Loctite. Like, oh, it's just so it doesn't vibrate out. I put Loctite on it. It's like, those types of things. I actually had a computer. I had just the cell phone, and I was like downloading these GPS apps. He had this bike Garmin computer like that detected everything. It knew the wind direction. It knew the wind speed. It knew these climbs and the elevation, when the elevation would change. It was probably too much data for me, because I was always like, you know, eventually we're going to get to the top. You know, there is obviously a hill in front of me, and there's probably going to be other hills in front of me, but eventually we get to the top, and then once we get to the top, well, then we can start to coast downhill. And there's two things about cycling that causes resistance. One is having to climb, and the second one is the wind, when you have the wind right in your face. And it's kind of like those things in your life. You get over those plateaus, you achieve something, you feel good about it. But then there's always that annoying wind where something is just aggravating, and it goes on for a while, and you don't necessarily know the meaning or purpose behind it. And this is the same thing between the two aspects of having to deal with the wind and having to deal with having to climb mountains. But I absolutely loved it. And I realized when I was on my path and I was meeting all these other characters, and you could see how many people that I met there, there was one person. It was early in the morning, and I was still on the Katy Trail at that moment, and I was going to meet a friend for lunch. So I woke up in darkness, and I started pedaling in darkness, and I had lights on my bike, and I'm going, and there's nobody on these trails. And I'm going down the trail, and I see this light, and it's like up here, and it's coming through the woods, and it's bopping up and down. It was a runner. And he was running across the United States. I left that moment. I said, whoa, at least I can coast. There's moments when you can coast. There's moments when there's wind at your back. So no matter what your dream is, no matter what your personal challenge is, there's always these people that have other challenges too. And sometimes they could even be more difficult. And so, yeah, just like we stopped for a while, we exchanged, we did the selfie, put it on Facebook, and of course we both have destinations to go, so we had to keep moving. So the aspect of moving, an aspect of trusting, an aspect of knowing everything's going to work out, and even when it doesn't work out, even when there are struggles, like I had times where I just didn't know, it was getting dark. I used to do this affirmation that I'm always going to have perfect accommodations before nightfall. That affirmation, as well as other affirmations I use, really kept me in that positive mindset. But I was always like, I'm always going to have perfect accommodations before nightfall. And here it was getting late, it was getting dark, and I was saying the affirmation louder because I wasn't working. And then I came out of this tree line, and there's a row of houses, and there's a father and son playing baseball in the backyard. And so as soon as I come out, I turn around, I went over to them, I asked them, I said, you don't happen to know where there's any camping around? And he knew of one. Actually, it was a cyclist campground, of all things. And he was nice enough to let me camp in his backyard. But he told me where this campground was. I went to the campground. He showed up probably about 20 minutes later with his son with a bag of food. His family owned a restaurant in town. So I not only had the pleasure of meeting a beautiful soul, but also the fact that I had this campground and he brought food. This was the ongoing thing. This was what was always happening every single moment. And so to have met Nate, and again, Nate was having the struggles and he wanted to quit. We made a decision to join forces. We actually got all the way to the Santa Monica Pier. We had a couple of big climbs in the Rockies, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And the biggest thing I would say is when we got to the Santa Monica Pier, there's this thing called the famous tire dip. So if you're a cyclist, it's not one thing to get to the pier. The pier's like up here, but then you got to take your bike with all your bags, and you got to go down these length of stairs, go across the sandy beach, and then you dip your tire into the Pacific Ocean. And after this entire journey, I was so beat. I'm like, this is the last thing I really want to do. Can we just maybe use your bike and Photoshop my bike? I don't know. So anyways, there was a few people that met us there, and we ended up coming down to help me with my bike. I get to the ocean right when I get there, and the wave was out, and this huge wave comes up. And it not only comes up, it gets me all wet, but it comes up halfway on my bike. And there wasn't a single wave the rest of the time, but there was this one wave that just gave me that, I don't know, the ocean kiss or whatever. And here I am now, I got to get my bike back up and to the Santa Monica Pier. We grabbed lunch and we parted ways. And the only thing I needed to do was I needed to then go from the Santa Monica Pier 10 miles south to my hotel, which was in El Segundo. And the next morning I had a friend that was picking me up, that's going to bring me, we're going to box up my bike, and I was going to fly home. So I'm like, this is fine. I started riding, I had sand in my derailleur, and my derailleur wouldn't shift. And I was stuck in a gear that wasn't necessarily the easiest gear, but I ended up figuring you know what, it's a boardwalk, it's flat, it's the nice ocean, and I can, just be patient with this. Don't worry about shifting, I'll get there. And I don't know anybody who is from that Los Angeles area, but the moment you get to the end where you have to turn to go to El Segundo, it's like this mile-long hill. And that whole, just vision of that was so intimidating. And I thought to myself, there's no shame in getting off and walking your bike. But there's also, that one last try, that one last push. And so I decided that I was just going to get up, stand up on my pedals, and crank as fast as I can, get some momentum. And that's basically what I did. And I kept my head down because I didn't want to look up, because every time I would look up, it seemed like it was getting farther away. And I kept pedaling and got to that halfway point. And I don't know if you've ever had that burning in your lungs, like you've been swimming in a chlorine pool all day. It's like that, just gasping for air. And I'm like, I guess kept doing this and pushing. I know the top is going to hit here eventually. And as soon as I get to the top, this skinny little bicycle guy with no weight on his bike, this guy who's probably half my age, on a little racing bike, goes right back past me and goes, wow, I'm impressed. I wanted to say thank you, but I couldn't breathe. I went 3,500 miles for an affirmation from a stranger, and it was I wanted to speak, but it was I was zonked at that moment. But the truth is, in your life, and in your journey, and in your dream, you're going to have these struggles. You're going to have times when you're going to have to buckle up and push. You're going to have times when things are going to be just miraculously unfolding and beautifully. But the moment that you recognize that calling of your heart, and number one, know that it's your dream. Know that it's your dream. Know that you don't necessarily need permission from anyone to live your dream, to live your purpose. Know that you're already ready. You're all ready to head out the door. Whatever that might, that one small step that you can take today towards whatever that is, whatever that's calling your heart. There's always something, some small activity that you can do that moves you in that direction. And then move, take action, because it's when you take action, things start to unfold. Just like that Henry David Thoreau quote, move confidently in the direction of your dream. And then know that, when you have difficult moments, just stay in that high vibe. Whether it's flat tires or whether it's bills to pay or whatever that is, just know that you'll get through it and be the journey, enjoy the journey, because there's so many things in our life that may not go as planned, but it may actually go better. And most times it does. It's with a grateful heart that I am here speaking with you today. For me, it's always a blessing to see my wife living her dream of a singer. We met years ago in Indonesia, and when she came over, for her to make that choice to come over and be, and marry me was one thing. And then to struggle and find what job didn't she like. She didn't like, it was the fact that she had music in her soul. For me, I grew up, I was a stutterer. I have dyslexia. I had a fear of public speaking. And you still do, it never goes away. But the thing is, what's calling us forward is the ability to live that dream. Because when you do, you're not only uplifting yourself, but you're a blessing to the world. Thank you. So now in this moment of meditation, let us just simply relax, find yourself a comfortable position, open up your heart and breathe. And as you breathe in, just know that there is divine guidance that's always nurturing, blossoming, and flowing through every aspect of our life. And that guidance is love. It is the love that supports, the love that nurtures, and that love that says yes. Yes to your dreams. So as we take a moment of silence, let's feel that presence of love. The presence of love within our soul, within our breath, and within our heart. And as you feel into this moment of silence, feel the love flowing over you, the grace filling you, and a sacred sense of joy as your being. That love is the only way, and love is all there is. And knowing that there is only love, it is that which sets you free. It is that which opens your heart. It's that which guides you. It's that which supports you. There is only love. And as you bring yourself back to this moment, taking another deep breath in, releasing. And then when you're ready to bring yourself back to centered in your chair and open your eyes, know that there is only love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only, there is only, there is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
Wow, that was truly inspirational and beautiful. Thank you both, Ron and Fonnie. That was great. So as we come back to earth, now is the time we give our tithes and love offerings, and there should be ways to give up on the screen there, and there's also a list in your program. And when you're ready, take your affirmation or your offering in your hand, and we'll do the affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we say, thank you, God. And now our ushers, Yvonne and Eva, will come forward and start gathering up the offerings. And Fonnie will share another beautiful song with us.
Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. All I know is gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that will never return. Think I finally learned. Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. All I know is gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing someone else's star that will never be mine. Think it's time, bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready my next thing to do. All I know is gonna be everything new. I survived many times before, broken hearts and slamming doors. I'll be alright, yes I will, once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. All I know is gonna be everything new. Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next things to do. All I know is gonna be everything new. I know it's gonna be everything new. Thank you.
Thank you. I do feel like everything's new. Thank you so much. All right, so let's bless our offering. Thank you, God, for the blessing of these generous gifts today. We anoint this offering with your presence and power, committing it to your purpose in our ministry and in the world, to bring the blessing of your grace and good to one and all. Thank you, God, and so it is. And before we sing the peace song, just a couple of reminders. We'll have hospitality in the back of the room. As usual, our wonderful hospitality team always does such a great job. And Ron and Fani will be attending. And if you're interested, Ron has copies of his book. If you'd like to pick up a book from Ron or just ask him any questions, they'll be available. And then also, if you would like confidential one-on-one prayer, Charlotte and Jeannie will be in the chapel right after service. And our prayer chaplains, they always are happy to pray with you, whether you have an urgent need or you just like to make a prayer of gratitude. So please feel free to pray with our chaplains. And now we'll sing the peace song.
Surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us.
wherever we are,